I move that he be recognized, Senator Bam Aquino.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Aquino, the gentleman from Tarlac?
Mr. President, maraming salamat. Mga kababayan at kapwa ko Pilipino, karangalan ko po ngayon na pag-usapan ang isang bagay na nakakabahala sa pamilyang Pilipino at sa ating kabataan, ang estado ng ating edukasyon. Since my first term, educational reform has long been one of our core advocacies. Now, as I rejoin the Senate and as your Chairman of Education, I remain committed to prioritizing reforms in this sector as it will affect generations of Filipinos and the future of our dear nation. But before I discuss the crisis in our education system, I must thank the Second Congressional Commission on Education, or EDCOM, co-chairpersons Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, Congressman Roman Romulo, and Congressman Mark Go. I also want to thank EDCOM Commissioners Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Joel Villanueva, Congressman Jude Asidre, Congressman Khalid Dimaporo, Congressman Pablo John Garcia, and the EDCOM Technical Secretariat led by ED Dr. Carol Markey. Lastly, I'd also like to recognize our current Secretary of Education and our former colleague, Secretary Sani Angara, for his work in beginning these necessary reforms. I met with Secretary Sani recently, and we aligned on priorities and committed to support DepEd's priority bills. The EDCOM report was groundbreaking in its frank assessment of our educational system, and we want to commend their courage, their honesty, and commitment in identifying the depth and breadth of issues. Rather than glossing over and sugarcoating this concern, it is clear that their critique come from a place of care for our youth and desire for solutions. Matagal na po nating paniniwala na ang unang hakbang tungo sa reforma ay pagtukoy sa problema. At dahil sa EDCOM report, nagagawa po natin yan ngayon. The issues our education system face will not be solved easily. The pace of reform can sometimes be slow, kaya nananawagan po kami sa aking mga kasama dito po sa Senado na tulungan ang komite para matugunan ang krisis sa edukasyon. Pagdating sa edukasyon, siguraduhin po natin na walang kulelat. Siguraduhin natin na lahat gagraduate at may siguradong trabaho. Siguraduhin natin na dahil tayo'y magtatrabaho at magtutulungan, panalo ang estudyanteng Pilipino. Mula sa aming mga konsultasyon sa mga lokal na pinuno, mga opisyal ng paaralan, mga magulang at mga mag-aaral, nakita po namin na malalim ang krisis sa edukasyon at matagal na pong nagtitiis ang mga estudyante sa ating bayan. Nakakabahala at nakakabigla ang pang-araw-araw na buhay ng isang Pilipinong estudyante sa pampublikong paaralan. Ang ilan po, kilo-kilometro ang kailangang lakarin para lang makarating sa eskwelahan. Yung iba, walang classroom na nagagamit, kaya nagaklase sa waiting shed at covered court. Ang iba pa po, wala pang maupuan. Ang mga estudyante kailangan paghatian ng textbook dahil kulang at huli kung dumating, at mano-manong kukopyahin para lang may babalik ang aralin. Ang mga ibang bata pumapasok na gutom, at kung suspendido ang klase dahil sa bagyo, sa baha o dahil sa heatwave, hindi makapag-online para matuto dahil walang libreng internet. Our consultations and EDCOM's report form the foundation of 7 key issues we need to address immediately, while recognizing that there are many more issues that will remain and many more that will arise. Unang-una, Filipino students today face a crisis in nutrition. Only 25% of Filipino children between 6 to 12 months old meet the recommended daily energy intake. 1 in every 4 Filipino children under 5 years old is stunted, and past the first 1,000 days, or from conception to 2 years old, stunting becomes irreversible, and these children will have permanent deficiencies in their physical and cognitive development. Mga kasama, in the 17th Congress, I principally sponsored and co-authored the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, or RA 11037, in partnership with Senator Grace Poe. And to solve undernutrition among Filipino children, we must now work together to pass priority legislation from DepEd that amends this law to strengthen its implementation and provide universal feeding for kinder to grade 3 and targeted feeding for grade 4 to grade 6. Our children deserve to be well fed and taken care of so that they're ready to learn. Pangalawa, second, there is an urgent need to address the classroom shortage in schools, with an additional 165,000 classrooms needed across the country. According to the EDCOM report, our Filipino schools are holding more than 2 shifts a day, and only 30% of school buildings are in good condition. Across the country, I've met local leaders and school officials who've talked about the state of their schools and discussed the lack of classrooms. And this leads me to believe, mga kasama, that the classroom shortage may possibly be even more than 165,000. We will exercise our legislative oversight into investigating the gap between the costs for building classrooms. Through our consultations, nalaman po namin na may mga NGO na gumagastos lang ng maliit sa 1 million pesos para makagawa ng classroom. Pero bakit po sa gobyerno more than double ang presyo ng classroom sa ating bansa? Umaabot po ng 2.5 million pesos pataas. Ang tanong, bakit mas mataas ang halaga ng classroom na gawa ng gobyerno kesa ng pribadong sektor? At mahalagang malaman po natin ang sagot sa tanong na ito upang makagapagpagawa po tayo ng classroom para sa ating mga estudyante. To solve the lack of classrooms, I filed the Classroom Building Acceleration Program, or the CAP Act. Once passed, this will enable the private sector, other non-government groups, and of course, other local government units to build our classrooms and to participate in the construction of classrooms. Kapag sabay-sabay gumagalaw ang gobyerno, pribadong sektor, non-government organizations, national and local government, mas mapapabilis ang pagpapatayo ng mga classrooms natin. Pangatlo, students, teachers, and administrators lack internet connectivity to support their education and aid in providing a multimodal approach to content delivery. With internet connectivity, students can supplement their studies with online learning, do further research, and communicate with one another. Teachers use the internet to improve their lessons and methods of teaching. And most importantly, access to the internet and internet literacy from an early age helps equip our students for future employment. In the interim time it takes classrooms to be built, access to the internet provides an additional avenue for a more robust multimodal approach to education. And to solve the issue of internet connectivity, we will exercise the function of legislative oversight and work closely with the DICT, who have underutilized their budget for connectivity since 2020. As the principal sponsor of the Free Internet Access in Public Spaces Act, which is also called the FIAPA Law, ipapatupad po natin ang paglagay ng internet sa ating mga public schools. I recently met with Secretary Aguda of DICT, who committed to the full implementation of this law by the end of 2025. And during last Monday's SONA, inulit po ito ng Presidente na priority makonect ang ating public schools sa internet. Our students and teachers deserve every possible method to access learning materials and should not be burdened by additional costs to access the internet. Pang-apat, Filipino students still lack access to textbooks. According to the EDCOM report, at the halfway point of the current school year, ngayong Enero po, only 37% of textbooks titles were delivered for grades 4 and grade 7. Ibig sabihin po noon, kalahating taon tapos na, pero mas mababa sa kalahati ang mga textbook na nakukuha ng mga estudyante. Hindi po na-deliver ang mga textbooks ng mga estudyante natin. And friends, this is not a budget issue, this is a systemic issue, from textbook development, procurement, publishing, and even delivery. Coupled with the implementation of the Free Wi-Fi law, our stopgap solution to the lack of textbooks is the e-Textbook Para sa Lahat Act. Once passed, this law will require the digital availability of all DepEd-approved textbooks for basic education on all official platforms or authorized channels for free. Ibig sabihin po nun, sa kauna-unahang araw ng pag-aaral ng mga estudyante natin, ang mga textbooks na hindi pa po na-deliver sa kanila, pwede nang ma-access online. Our students should be able to access the textbooks on time, whether in print or on the internet. Panglima, teachers are overworked, underpaid, and significantly lack support. 2 out of 3 teachers report working on over 50 non-teaching tasks and work more than 40 hours a week. Reports have shown that it takes a teacher 15 years to move from teacher 1 to teacher 3, where they earn around 30,000 pesos. And some schools have 500 teachers but only 4 non-teaching personnel. And only 45% of public schools have a designated school principal. Our teachers are overburdened and can't do what they want and what they need to do, which is to teach our children. To solve the lack of support for teachers, I filed the Angat Sweldo para sa Guru Act, which seeks to grant 10,000 monthly compensation to all public school teachers and qualified non-teaching personnel over the next 3 years. And we will work closely with DepEd in addressing the lack of administrative support for teachers. Another reform that was suggested to us by DepEd is to amend the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act to provide alternative pathways to teacher licensure, to strengthen oversight of underperforming teacher education institutions, and ensure greater transparency and quality in the licensure process. Our teachers face a monumental task when educating our children and should be supported and rewarded for their work. Pang-anim po, Filipino students are 2 years behind curriculum expectations. EDCOM reported that there are grade 3 students who have grade 1 level competencies in reading and math, 2 years behind. They also report that grades 8 and 9 students struggled with basic subtraction and multiplication in the recent DepEd learning camps. I've spoken to teachers who have also reported that there are some grade 6 students who cannot read and comprehend according to their grade level. Mga kasama, urgent na po ang problemang ito. There is a learning gap in our country at kung hindi po natin tutugunan, mas lalaki pa ang learning gap na ito. We recognize the urgency to address this gap in the current curriculum with supplemental, remedial programs, and of course, possibly even changes in the curriculum. To solve this issue, we will work closely with the agencies on properly implementing the K-12 system and strengthen the National Learning Recovery Program. We will work on adequately funding the National Learning Recovery Program and support groups that work on remedial learning. Panghuli, mga kasama, number 7, our current educational system does not adequately prepare students for employability. A PID study released last June 2025 found that only around 20% of senior high school graduates enter the labor force. Only 20% po, with the majority choosing to continue their education. This, of course, calls into question the senior high school program's employment and entrepreneurial objectives. Mr. President, isa sa mga dahilan ng pagpasa ng Enhanced Basic Education Act noong 2013 ay para matiyak na makapagtatrabaho na ang isang estudyante na nakapagtapos ng senior high. Ganun po yung pangako ng K-12. Kung hindi ako mag-college, gagraduate ako ng grade 12 at kaya ko na magtrabaho. Pero nakikita po natin na hindi po itong katotohanan sa ating mga eskwelahan. Kaya yung K-12 system po natin needs to be properly reformed and implemented for us to achieve its intended goal and to give Filipino students more opportunities. Alam ko po na maraming naghain ng mga iba't ibang panukala tungkol sa K-12 and I assure you we will have an open and lively discussion about the K-12 program pagdating po sa ating komite. Sa amin naman po, nag-file kami ng STEP Act or School to Employment Program. This is a law that will require job placement offices in all public senior high schools, state universities and colleges, and local universities and colleges once passed. But more importantly, the STEP Act empowers the schools to make adjustments to their curriculum and revise their course offerings to be more responsive to labor market information and demands. Our students deserve the opportunity to properly prepare to join and thrive in our nation's workforce kasi para sa maraming kabataan, ang edukasyon at pagtatrabaho nila, yan po ang unang hakbang sa pag-angat ng kanilang buhay at buhay ng kanilang pamilya. Nutrition, classrooms, textbooks, internet connectivity, teacher support, the learning gap at trabaho. Ito po ang agenda ng inyong Committee on Education. 6 out of 7 of these main points are the main recommendations of the EDCOM report as well. Magpapasa po tayo ng reforma, babantayan po natin ang pag-implement ng mga panukalang batas at titiyakin po natin na maayos ang pagbabudget ng mga reformang ito. If we do nothing, we will see effects not only in the individual struggles of our Filipino students, but in our economy and our society. If we don't act now, many of our children will grow up stunted, not only in body but also in learning, with the lowest rates in math, reading, and science, and our failures will be close to irreversible. And mga kaibigan, kung di po natin ito aaksyonan, we risk letting go of our best advantage, our youth, ang kabataang Pilipino. nung nakaraang SONA, sa totoo lang po, pakiramdam ko para tayong bumingo. Bingo, dahil 6 po sa 7 agenda na ito ng ating komite ay natantusan ng Pangulo. 6 out of 7 points here nabanggit po sa SONA. At nakakatuwa po na ang prioridad ng ating komite ay tumutugma sa mga priorities ng administrasyon. We welcome the President's affirmation that education should remain a top priority for the last 3 years of this administration. And the committee, alongside everyone here, will make sure that those promises are kept, mababudgetan at magagamit ng tama ang pera ng bayan pagdating sa edukasyon. The Committee on Basic Education is ready to work to pass the reforms needed to improve our education system. We're also committed to oversee and guard the implementation of current laws. We will not hesitate to investigate and call to task any agency or organization that hinders the reforms needed to solve our education crisis. And most importantly, we will make sure that there is proper utilization of all allocated budgets para tunay na nangangailangan ang makikinabang. Lastly, mga kasama, dahil mabigat rin po ang usapin ng budget sa panahong ito, we challenge our body to increase the budget for education to at least 4% of the nation's GDP. This is the recommendation of the United Nations and many other bodies. Alam ko po, palapit ng palapit po tayo sa numerong ito. Baka po, for 2026, malampasan natin ang 4% of GDP at mabigay natin ang nararapat na pondo para po sa edukasyon. With the budget increase and the President's pronouncement during the SONA, I'm sure we will find a way to find the funding para magkaroon po ng successful implementation ang mga education reforms po natin. Itong lahat, kailangan po natin para masolusyonan ang krisis sa edukasyon. Paglaban po natin ang karapatan ng kabataang Pilipino na magkaroon ng kalidad na edukasyon. Ito po ang agenda ng aming komite. Para matugunan ang krisis sa edukasyon, pagsasama-sama, pagkilos at pagtutulungan ng kailangan po. Pribadong sektor, advocacy groups, mga estudyante, mga guro, mga iba't ibang sangay ng ating gobyerno at syempre lahat po tayo dito, kailangan po magtulungan para sa mga isyong ito. At kasama po ang DepEd, ang CHED, ang TESDA, of course with our good friend, former Senator, now Secretary Angara at ang kabuuan ng DepEd, and their 10-year basic education roadmap bilang gabay, mas matututukan po natin ang mga kinakailangang reforma. It's clear, dear friends, that hope is alive and well in our country. And our Filipino youth still have that fighting spirit. Lumalaban pa po. It's now time that we work together and harness this hope to solve this crisis. Muli po, sa aking mga kasama dito, maraming salamat at inaasahan po namin na magkakasama tayo at magtutulungan para masolusyonan ang krisis sa edukasyon. Maraming salamat, Mr. President. Thank you, dear colleagues.
Thank you, Senator Bam Aquino, Majority Leader.
Mr. President, first I was told that she's not going to interpolate anymore, but she wanted to make a manifestation. May we recognize the distinguished lady from Taguig and Patero, Senator Pia
The
Cayetano.
lady from Taguig, Senator Pia Cayetano, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. The majority floor leader is correct. This is not an interpellation. This is just a manifestation of support. We are very happy to have another education advocate in the Senate. It has not been an easy task to navigate the lack of budget over the past 6 years. I speak of 6 years because this representation has handled the budget of education for the past 6 years. And everything his honor says is accurate. All the challenges we've faced pretty much remain the same, but I want to share a couple of I want to share some good news, which His Honor in some way has also mentioned. Number one is we have a secretary, as you know, who has sat in our shoes, who has been among us, and was one of the proponents for the forming of the EDCOM 2. So I'm happy to hear that His Honor had met with Secretary Angara. The second thing I'd like to point out is in terms of the budget, I join His Honor in expressing our joy that the President has made it very clear that it is a priority, and in the 3 years, we really hope to see, at the end of the day, it boils down to funding. I think there's no one who will deny the importance of education, but it will boil down to how we allocate funding. And I'd like to share one situation. based on, was it the 159? That's last year?
Last year.
Okay, so I'm just going to share last year's data because that's the data I had when I handled the budget. 159,000 shortage of classrooms, no? 159,000. But the budget allocated was good for
It's just 7 billion.
7 billion. But to address the 159 billion, if you divide that, 159,000 shortage, the needed budget is
398 billion.
398 billion. So kung yung 159,000 na shortage, you try to fill that gap in 10 years, that 398 billion, you will spend 39 billion per year. Correct? Basic naman, no? 398 divided by 10, 39 billion. And yet, ang na-budget natin
7 billion lang.
last year, for this year, is 7 billion. So we will have the same conversation, Your Honor, in a few months, because it will boil down to how much, what is our political will to address this. And I also want to point out that this does not include the damaged classrooms.
Yes,
That
repair.
is that is actually the low-hanging fruit. Paayos mo na lang. Unfortunately, without any malice at all, I think many local would want na mapakitang may bagong classroom. Pero on the ground, paayos mo na lang, 'di ba? Para magamit naman ng mga estudyante. And I think His Honor wanted to say something, Mr. President.
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, let me just, although this is not an interpellation, but if I may just mention, I'm very bullish about this year's budget, Mr. President, because our new Chairman of Finance is the former
Correct.
Chairman of Education, who knows this inside out and who was instrumental in putting together EDCOM 1 and 2. So we've talked on the side with our Chairman for Finance, and we can make a push. I also remember in the SONA, Mr. President, I think the President mentioned that his target is 40,000 classrooms for this year. If that's 80 billion pesos, because government is spending about 2 million pesos per classroom, if we can find a way to bring that price down, Mr. President, no, of course the lady from Taguig knows the numbers inside out, but she also knows that a number of groups are able to build classrooms for much cheaper.
Yes, of course.
So if we're
That's
able
true.
to bring the price down, we will be able to build more classrooms with a smaller amount. So if the target is 40 billion classrooms, 40,000 classrooms, which might be 80 billion pesos, and we can bring the price lower, we'll be able to build more classrooms this year. At ang panawagan ko, Mr. President, maging bukas tayo sa mga hearing at alamin natin bakit ganun yung mga presyo. Bakit ang lalayo ng mga presyo? Parang times 2 yung sa gobyerno at kalahati yung the gentleman from Bukidnon mentioned na hindi lang flood control, dapat pati classroom building imbestigahan. In fact, if we were to decrease the budget for flood control, ilagay na lang natin sa classroom building program. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. President, we spent 350 billion pesos on flood control for this year.
O di yun na, more or less yun na yung amount na kailangan for the 159,000 classroom shortage.
Yes, Mr. President.
Anyway, Mr. President, just one last point on the classrooms. The former chairman of the Committee on Education will recall that one of the biggest problems we face also is absorptive capacity. So many of these LGUs will include in their wish list budget for classrooms, pero hindi pa nila nagagawa yung pag-survey doon, tapos minsan yung property na i-allocate nila, yun yung malalandslide.
Yes.
So in the first 3 years that I handled the DepEd budget, that was the biggest problem. Hindi makagalaw, nagtuturoan yung, Senator Mark Villar is here, nagtuturoan yung DepEd and yung DPWH, kasi sabi ni DPWH hindi nila magalaw dahil kulang yung preparatory work that must be done. So, just sharing this
Yes.
with His Honor because these are the issues, I think, paikot-ikot lang to. 2 last points, very quickly. This representation, as chairman of the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals and Futures Thinking, We came up with a report. It's called The Future of Education. We will be happy to furnish His Honor with a copy. And finally, I just also want to put on record that hindi nakalimutan niyo ho akong banggitin. Kasama din ako sa EDCOM. I just graciously resigned to make room because nung naging chairman of Energy ako, Senator Alan became higher ed chairman. So with a reluctant heart, I gave up my seat. But I continue to be very supportive of all. So as I will still be under His Honor's term. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank
Thank you, Senator Pia.
Mr. President, we
Yes,
will amend
Senator Aquino.
we will amend the speech to include the lady from Taguig. Thank you very much to the lady from Taguig.
One question, Senator Aquino, if I
Yes.
may. How many classroom shortage in each region? Like, for example, in Metro Manila, Region 1 and up to Region 12?
I don't have the data right now, Mr. President, but I think that's in the EDCOM report. And during the hearings, mahihimay po natin yan.
All right.
May-
And on
may-
a lighter note, Senator Aquino, you mentioned earlier, nung nakikinig ako sa iyo yung privilege speech na masaya ka at maraming binanggit si Pangulong Marcos tungkol sa education. Yan ba'y pagpapatunay na sinusuporta niyo si Pangulong Marcos?
Mr. President, no, para sa edukasyon, lahat po tayo kailangan magtulungan. That's been my position ever since. At kahapon po, I was pleasantly surprised na nakaredy na po yung speech ko eh. Kaya parang bumingo po talaga tayo. Ang rami po dito nabanggit po nung Monday. We're very thankful for that.
Thank you, Senator Aquino.
Mr. President, the gentleman, Senator Kiko Pangilinan is also seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized, and then Senator Padilla.
Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is not an interpellation, but I would just like to make a manifestation after listening to the privileged speech of our colleague, Senator Bam Aquino. This is to inform the good chairperson and our colleagues that this representation filed a bill, Libreng Almusal, for our grade school students as well as daycare center children. The incidence of stunting is alarming. There is an epidemic of hunger among our children. And it is not just stunting, it also affects the ability of our children to stay in school. Dropout rates for school children without school meals can go as much as 30% compared to primary school that have or offer a school meals program. So it has not yet been referred. We are still going through the reading of our Libreng Almusal program, but as early as now, we would like to at least seek the support of the chairman of the Education Committee so that we can jointly hear, number one, the Libreng Almusal bill, and at the same time, marshal it on plenary should the report be made available, Mr. President. For the record.
Thank you,
And
Senator.
we thank the senator from Tarlac for his privileged speech.
Thank you, Senator Pangilinan. Senator Aquino?
Mr. President, we welcome the manifestation of the gentleman from Quezon City. And once it's referred, we will prioritize the hearing of the bills on nutrition. And definitely, Mr. President, yung libreng almusal, isa po yan sa mga mahalagang panukala pagdating sa nutrisyon para sa mga kabataan. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senator Padilla is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. Ako naman po ay hindi gagawa din ng interpelasyon, kundi manifestasyon. Sapagkat kahapon po, napakaganda po ng usapan namin ni Senator Bam patungkol po sa kalagayan ng edukasyon sa ating inang bayang Pilipinas. At napakaganda po nung pinuntahan ng aming usapan na sana ay magkaroon din tayo ng mga hakbangin patungo naman doon sa ating kabataan na manumbalik sa pagmamahal sa kanilang kalikasan. Kanina nga po ay muli po nating binalikan habang nagsasalita yung ating mahal na senador galing sa Tarlac. Marami pong nanumbalik sa ating alaala na yung ating po mga kabataan ay masyado lang nalululong sa mga masasabi po natin, lalo yung pagkakalikha ng smartphone na yan, laging nakaharap na lamang doon sa kanilang mga smartphone, pati po sa mga malalayong lugar, nabigyan pa ng mga magulang ng kanilang mga cellphone, nandun na lang lagi po. ang kanilang atensyon. Sana po sa amin pong pag-uusap kahapon ay mabigyan po ng pagkakataon yung ating kabataan matuto muli na bumalik sa lupa. Yung kanila pong pagtatanim, agrikultura, matutunan po silang mabuhay uli na sa kanila pong kakayahan ay masuportahan nila ang kanilang mga sarili. Yun lamang po, ako po ay saludo po sa inyo, Senator Bam.
Maraming salamat, Senator Padilla. Senator Aquino.
Yes, we'd like to thank the gentleman from Camarines Norte. Maraming salamat po, Senator Padilla. At isasama po natin ang usapin tungkol sa kurikulo dito po sa mga susunod na hearing at masasama po dyan ang usapin tungkol sa kalikasan. No? Nung ako po ay grade 4, alam ko may 4-H club kami, may kailangan ng planting, Boy Scout, no? Tree planting, napakaraming mga ginagawa po para mapalapit sa kalikasan. At maganda nga po na mapag-usapan po yan. Maraming salamat po. Thank you po,
Buhay
Mr.
po.
President.
Maraming salamat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, Senator Win Gatchalian and then Senator Rafi Tulfo are also seeking the floor. I move that they be recognized.
Senator Win Gatchalian, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is not an interpellation, but I just want to manifest my full support to the privileged speech of Senator Bam Aquino, and I'm very happy that there's another education champion joining the halls of the Senate. And I was listening intently to his speech earlier. Alam niyo ho, ang Year 1 report is 400 pages, and Year 2 report is 400 pages, yung EDCOM yearly report. And obviously, binasa ho ni Senator Bam all 800 pages to come up with very targeted recommendations on how to address our education crisis that we are experiencing in our country. So I'm very happy to hear that he is ready to address all of these issues, and we fully support him in his quest to give our students, our learners, the best education possible. So congratulations.
Thank you, Senator Gatchalian. Yes, Senator Aquino.
Yes, Mr. President, nais ko rin po magpasalamat kay Senator Gatchalian. We already spoke during the campaign period kung gaano po ako humahanga talaga, no, pagdating po sa kanyang trabaho dito po sa Senado, especially pagdating sa edukasyon. So much so that I requested him yesterday if he can be my vice chairman for the Committee on Basic Education. Hindi ko alam kung pumapayag na siya, pero
My honor, Mr. President.
para meron pong continuity, no, yung mga reformang ginagawa, ang mga nailabas ng EDCOM. By the way, Mr. President, the EDCOM report, I will repeat what I said earlier. Yung pagka-honest ng EDCOM report, yung pagka-prangka niya pagdating sa mga problema natin, napakagandang simulain para sa mga reformang ito. Kung yung EDCOM report po, gin-loss over lang yung mga problema. Kasi some reports, ganyan po, no? Kung ganun po yung nangyari, hindi ho tayo uusad. Pero dahil yung report pong ito at lahat ng mga commissioners na nandito, nagtulungan, naging tapat at naging prangka sa mga nakikita nila, palagay ko po may chance talaga tayong mapatupad yung mga reformang kailangan natin. So again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank Senator Gatchalian for all of the great work that they've done. Salamat, sir.
And Mr. President, just to put on record that Senator Bam is now the co-chair of the EDCOM, so I can see that EDCOM will be working doubly hard until the end of the year because its life is until end of the year. But definitely, nakikita ko po na marami tayong mariresolve dahil meron ho tayong isang chairman ng basic education na talagang ang puso niya ay para sa ating mga bata. So, congratulations. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Gatchalian. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, Senator Rafi Tulfo is also seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Rafi Tulfo is recognized.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to associate myself with the privileged speech of Senator Bam Aquino. It is very timely as another school year begins, and once again we deal with the problems of our public education system. Nandiyan na yung nationwide classroom shortage na 165,000. Kulang na kulang po talaga ang classroom para sa tinatayang 27.6 million enrollees mula elementary hanggang senior high school. At may shortage rin na 56,050 sa bilang ng mga guro. Ngayon, nalapit ng budget season, siguraduhin po natin sana ang bawat sentimo na ibubuhos natin sa edukasyon ay mararamdaman ng ating mga mag-aaral. Pero maliban po sa problemang ito, nais ko pong ikatok sa ating chair ng Committee on Basic Education, kay Chair Senator Bam Aquino, ang mga problemang nakakarating sa akin ng personal na sana ay matugunan natin ngayong 20th Congress. Una na po rito ang hindi pagpasok ng mga mag-aral sa kadahilanang wala silang sapat na pangbaon na pagkain. Ito po talagang laging inilalapit sa akin ng mga magulang, ng mga estudyante sa public school, sa elementary, na hindi sila nakakapasok dahil gutom sila. Wala silang makain. Nung gabi, wala silang makain. Pagdating umaga, wala makain. Kaya hindi na po papasok, nag-absent na lang. Ayon sa Republic Act 11037 o ang masustansyang pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, bibigyan ng 45 meal for not less than 120 days per year ang mga mag-aaral ng public elementary schools. Hindi po ito sapat. Kung gusto nating masuportahan ang ating mga mahihirap na mag-aaral, kailangan po nating tugunan ang problema ng kagutuman. Hindi makakapag-isip na maayos ang mga estudyante at marami na rin hindi sila po makapasok dahil nga po sa kakulangan sa pagkain at wala ng sustansya ang kanilang kinakain kung meron man. Kaya sa panukalang aking pong inahain, nais ko pong maitulak na mabigyan araw-araw ng isang full fortified meal ang mga public school students mula kinder hanggang senior high sa buong durasyon ng academic year. Ang susunod po nais kong matugunan ay ang paulit-ulit na insidente ng bullying sa mga eskwelahan. Silipin po natin saan tayo nagkulang at talamak na rin po ang bullying, especially sa elementary and high school. Kailangan magkaroon ng sapat na sistema upang mapigilan ang bullying para hindi lamang ito reactive at puro suporta sa mga biktima. Prevention po ang mas mahalaga. At sa huli, bilang chairperson ng Committee on Public Services, aking pong tututukan ang problema ng internet sa ating mga public schools, lalo na sa mga malalayong lugar na mahirap abutin. Malaki po ang tulong ng internet para sa mga paaralan, lalo na po kung kailangan mag-switch sa online class dahil sa mga sakuna sa iba't ibang lugar at para dumami rin po ang makikipag-avail ng mga online open universities na available sa ating mga kabataan. Again, thank you to our dear colleague Senator Bam for advocating for our youth and their future. I'll be more than happy and ready to support you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Rafi. Yes, Senator Aquino.
President,
Nais ko lang magpasalamat, Mr. President, sa aking bagong seatmate, Senator Rafi Tulfo. Yung isa po niya na nabanggit na hindi ko po nabanggit sa aking speech yung bullying. Sa totoo lang po, nasa top recommendations yan, Senator Win, di ba, ng EDCOM report. At hindi pa rin namin nahanap kung ano yung pinakaakmang solusyon dito, kaya hindi ko muna napag-usapan. Pero siguro po, pwede natin pag-usapan ano ba yung magandang panukala para ma-address ito o baka naman meron ng plano ang DepEd pagdating po sa problemang ito. But for the record, gusto ko lang pong banggitin, yung problema ng bullying is one of the top concerns of the EDCOM report. And we will also do our best to find the solution here. Salamat po. Salamat, Senator Tulfo. Thank you po.
Thank you, Senator
Mr.
Aquino.
President, last but not the least is the gentleman from Taguig and Pateros, no other than Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, and with the permission of the good gentleman from Tarlac and as Senator Win described, another champion for education. Excuse my voice, Mr. President. I'm praying to be charismatic but woke up asthmatic. So medyo masama yung sa chest, but I cannot help but stand up because kung ano man nararamdaman ko does not compare really with the state of education. At gusto ko rin pagbigyan yung dati natin na Senate President Mig Subiri na nagsabing dapat mas maraming discussion talaga sa floor. Diba? So if the gentleman from Tarlac would allow me only 2 questions.
Of course, Mr. President.
Sige. First of all, I thank God that you were the first to speak and the first topic is education. I know there are a lot of political issues like the impeachment, the budget, the SONA, contra SONA, but I think all of us will agree not only should the highest budget allocation go to education, but the highest priority, no? Even if you talk on the spiritual side values, dapat yan sa education pa rin. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew solved many of the problems of Singapore with a 5- and 10-year plan in the basic education sector. So my question, Mr. President, is this. Together with His Honor and many of us, we were here during the time na diniscuss yung K-12. And if you remember, dalawa lang kami ni Senator Trillanes ang nag-object. Among the present here who were part of that, I think the whole world went K-12 except 2 other countries. But one of those two other countries is top 3, top 4 in education in the whole world, no? And then minention din kasi kawawa naman mga engineers natin, they will need another 2 years, etc. But when we computed that, that was less than 1%. And the basic objection is, kung baga sa kotse, galing sa karag-karag na vintage na I won't name a brand kasi lahat naman ng brands ay maganda, suddenly, right before K-12, parang Lexus or Mercedes-Benz na tayo. To be fair to the former president, ang daming naayos sa education. Yung innovations niya sa bidding out the classrooms as a whole, yung pagtaas ng sweldo ng teachers. I mean, we have to give it to him, to Brother Armin, they did that, no? But they proposed a giant step to K-12. Unfortunately, many of the things we predicted then, one, hindi masosustain. Even Sensani, who I'm happy is now the DepEd Secretary, and of course it was his father who was the main proponent of this. Ang promise kasi nila, number 1, after graduating high school, pwede ka na magtrabaho, parang Germany. That means yung track, kompleto.
Yep.
So, sa SONA, in-announce ng Presidente, pag senior high ka at gusto mo na mag-electronic or electrical, hindi yun yung promise sa K-12. Ang promise sa K-12, first year high school pa lang, junior high school, may track na. Whether yan ay sports, whether yan ay sa fashion, sa creative, sa pananamit, sa computers, internet, no? Hindi sa 5th year. Hindi sa 4th year, sa 5th year. Nandun pa lang yun yun yung pangako. Another pangako is that the GE subjects na lahat tayo na nag-college ay nadanasan natin yan. It was 80% or 70% of our first 2 SEMs. Ililipat yan sa high school para ang mga college ay nangako na i-cut to 3 years. Ngayon, kailangan pa natin ng win-win solution through Senator Win by filing a bill to force them na magbawas. So, noong time ko po, I think 18 units full load kami, 21 units okay pa rin, hindi pa overload, 23 units yung overload. Eh ngayon, Senwin, ano ba, 20, 26, 28, basta yung units. So, yung promise ng K-12, baliktad pa yung mga nangyari. And I can go on, and I know you agree, I had the chance to hear some of your comment speeches, more on social media than on the campaign, no? So, right in front of you is a senator who loves to be loved and loves to be hated. Senator Jinggoy Estrada. So, the same goes for his proposal to get rid to K-12. Some parents, some PTA associations, some local government, some media practitioners love the idea, some hate the idea. So I know this is going to be a long discussion, but I'm really curious what you have in mind, sir. Are you for the abolition of the K-12 or are you for the full implementation? What are your,
Yes.
in a nutshell, leaning towards?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yung problema ho sa K-12 directly affects the employability of our students. At malinaw po yung posisyon natin na ang pagtatrabaho sa dulo ng edukasyon mahalaga. No, mahalaga na pagkatapos ng educational journey mo, may trabaho ka, no? You should be employable, you should have the skills that that are needed to be hired. And one of the bills that we filed, pinapalapit po niya yung mga eskwelahan at yung curriculum dun sa mga employment opportunities. This directly will affect the grade 11, grade 12 system. So maganda po ang pangako ng grade 11, grade 12, pero alam natin hindi po yan ang natutupad on the ground, no? Kung may reforma na pwedeng gawin para maging employable yung mga estudyante natin, then maybe it deserves one more shot. But kung talagang hindi kaya, then we will tackle the solution suggested by Senator Estrada. So ang mangyayari po dito, maghihearing po tayo, and we will hear everyone's position on the matter. The position from our fellow senators here, mga eksperto, from DepEd itself, apektado rin dyan syempre ang CHED at ang mga kolehiyo, and hopefully we can come to a solution na malinaw, no? At this point, lahat po tayo nagbibigay ng solusyon, magandang pakinggan yan, wala pong off the table, everything is on the table, mapag-usapan, and as a committee, as a body, we can come up with the reforms together. But definitely, hindi solusyon yung walang gagawin. The solution is not doing nothing. Kasi kung wala tayong gagawin, tuloy po yung problema natin dyan. We have to do something. No?
I agree with you 100%, but I feel
If I may, with the
Yes.
indulgence of my two colleagues, if I may be recognized,
Majority
Mr.
Leader.
President. Mr. President, just to point out something, Mr. President, because I cannot help but butt in, Mr. President, with regard to the challenges that we are facing in implementing K-12 program. Mr. President, in some countries right now, they're already talking about including the artificial intelligence subjects in all in a curriculum of the secondary and basic education, Mr. President. You can go to China and they are already implementing it. Until now, in the Philippines, we are still talking about debating on mother tongue use. What I'm just trying to point out, Mr. President, is that in some areas where K-12 is being implemented, for example, and the promise is you will get a job as soon as you finish K-12. But in some, I would not say some, but in many places of the country where there's no resources, educational facilities. For example, Mr. President, you talk about AI, you talk about robotics. 2 years ago, I was in Singapore and I met Robot Ella, a barista who can do 200 cups of coffee in an hour. But 2 months ago, it's already here in Mega Mall. So if we're not going to do something about it, if the schools, the basic education facilities are not ready, then we will only continue to offer hair cutting, massage therapy, which I don't, wala po akong ano doon, no? I'm not against the course. Pero kung yun lang po lagi,
Yes.
at yun lang yung idinala sa isang particular community, then walang upskilling, walang retooling, then the problem will continue to arise, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence. So just to point out, Mr. President, the importance of really looking into this, and I don't think, I don't agree actually, Mr. President, of abolishing K-12. But if we are not going to implement it properly, then that's the only thing we can do right now, probably think about. But abolishing or going back to our usual yung limited time, Mr. President, in the basic education, baka ho, babalik na naman tayo doon sa dati at hindi tayo mag-move forward. Just to put that on record, Mr. President.
Mr.
Thank
President.
you, distinguished colleague. Thank you, Senator Cayetano. Thank you, Chairperson.
Mr.
Abang.
President, just to add to the Majority
please
Floor
proceed.
Leader's point.
Yes, please
Yes.
proceed.
Mr. President, ang nangyayari po kasi, yung pagpili ng mga kurso, hindi siya base sa job market information. So, actually, hindi pa nga yung available eh. Kadalasan po yung nangyayari, kung ano yung gusto ng mga magulang, kung ano yung gusto ng mga tao, hindi po kung ano yung base sa mga available jobs in the area. So, yung isang batas po na na-file po, isang bill na na-file po natin, si STEP Act, School to Employment Program, binubuo po yung labor market information na siyang magbibigay ng datos sa mga eskwelahan, both in high school and in college, para yung mga kurso pwede pong ma-rationalize, no? Sa gayon po, mas sigurado yung pagtatrabaho ng mga kabataan natin kasi yung kurso na tinitake up nila, talagang may opportunity na magtrabaho dun sa lugar. Ang nangyayari ho ngayon, base sa survey, base sa kung anong gusto, in the end, hindi nagmamatch. Kung may natutunan mang skills, baka kailangan umalis pa dun sa munisipyo, dun sa syudad, or worse, hindi rin siya yung mga skills na hinahanap ng merkado. So, magsisimula po talaga yan sa integration ng ating labor market information. Alam ko po, the Majority Floor Leader is the expert on technical vocational matters here, no? So, alam po niya na ang TechVoc schools, kadalasan meron niyang labor market information para yung offerings po nila, swak talaga sa pangangailangan. Kung nagagawa po yan ng TechVoc institutions natin, ba't hindi nagagawa ng ating mga senior high school na siyang nagbibigay rin ng NC1 at NC2 certification. So marami ho talagang reformang kailangan gawin, and we would welcome the expertise of the good Majority Floor Leader during the deliberations. So maraming salamat po, sir. Salamat,
Sir
Mr. President.
President, just to react to the gentleman from Tarlac saying, we cannot do nothing. Okay. Let me agree with him 101%. And to be fair to all our past presidents, I don't think they're not doing nothing. My point is we have to do something radical.
Yeah.
Kasi mabigat masyado yung problema. For example, in Metro Manila and many highly urbanized places, what we're talking about, job matching, etc., ganyan, malayo pa yon. Bakit? Half day lang sila eh. 3 oras lang, 4 na oras. Wala ng classroom, kulang na ng teachers. Pwera pa yung 1 linggo na walang pasok dahil bumabagyo. Karamihan sa kanila, wala rin naman tablets or Apple computer labs or anything like this, no? So the problem is really much more basic. The problem, that the bigger parts of the problem goes back to pre-K to 12 eh. Nabanggit ko kanina, bakit ngayon mas maraming more than 18 units. Lumalabas sa EDCOM, 122 units ang college eh. So, 122 divided by 3 years, that's only about 40 units per year. So, kaya naman pala ng 3 years. Bakit? The longer you ask a parent to sustain yung pag-aaral ng bata, the bigger the chance na mag-drop out. In Taguig, we have a 100% scholarship program. Pagka-graduate mo ng high school, we'll give you automatically 15,000 para makapag-enroll, whether TESDA yan or college. If it's a center of excellence like UP, we'll give you 50,000. Kung teacher ka or police, we'll give you 80 to 120,000 magmasteral. But you know, you check the dropout rates, comparable pa rin sa ibang lugar. Kasi nga yung scholarship program natin at pinagyayabang natin full scholarship, 30% lang yun ang gastos eh. Yung out of pocket is 70%. And the additional kindergarten, which is good, ang kindergarten, 100% good. But yung additional 2 years, tapos yung nag-additional 2 years ka nga, half day ka naman. Ano yun? Diba? So again, I know this is going to be a long discussion. Mr. Testdaman, Mr. Trabaho ng Senado stood up. I remember we were discussing how much, Brad, is the budget now of TESDA compared to when you were TESDA? Times 3 na? Times 4 na? At it's times 3 na. Ang pangako nun, yung TESDA i-integrate sa high school. Ngayon may 3-year course na yung TESDA, naging CHED na rin ang TESDA. Tapos may mga course ang TESDA, sing mahal na rin ng mga college. You know? So again, I say all of this with passion because nga, you know, I saw it before my eyes kung ano yung successful pero kung ano din yung dumudurog sa sistema. But the solution is there, but we have to be radical. 165,000 schools. Binanggit to ng EDCOM, school classrooms. Binanggit to ni Senator Tulfo. I guess, sobrang dami na nagsusumbong sa Tulfo, kaya buti, madadalawa na Tulfo natin. So mahahati na po ang trabaho sa mga nagsusumbong sa atin. You know, Senwin and I, hindi po ako magaling mag-compute, no? But you have to hand it to Senwin. Not only is he very good in education, singkit din, kaya magaling din sa calculator, magaling sa math, sa business. Alam nyo, kinocompute namin, kung sa 1 million Senwin, 165 billion lang yon. That's almost half or 2/3 lang nung baha budget ng DPWH.
Exactly.
1 trillion yung budget ng DPWH. Gusto nyo tapusin in 1 year ang kakulangan sa classroom? Medyo bitin pa yung 165 kasi sa Metro Manila, walang lupa. But the point is, I'm agreeing with you, sir, but I think the task of this 20th Congress is not only for change or to do something, but it is really the radical change that is needed, the hard decisions, putting our money where our mouth is. I campaigned in my first term in 1998 telling may kababayan in Taguig, tiisin muna natin na napuputikan ang paa natin. Minsan nagkakaroon ng alipunga dahil sa baha. Pero gawin natin lahat ng classrooms natin. And now, awa ng Diyos. You know, maganda edukasyon, mga nagtatrabaho sa BGC, mga taga-Taguig. But kung inuna namin ng inuna yung flood control, and it's hard to be in a flood, 3 months kung paano kaming bahain before, no? But to go to my second question, dahil matalas na ang tingin sa akin nung dating Senate President natin at napaka-importante and I support his privilege speech, but it's in connection with that, no? When Isabong happened, and now I can tell the story, that was one of the reasons that there was a clamor to remove me from the speakership because I refused to even calendar the franchise of Isabong. I knew how addictive and kung gaano kalaking problema yan, no? So ngayon, Wala ng pogo, thank God, and thank you everyone here who worked on that. Having said that, pinag-iisipan pa ng Malacanang kung ano ang epekto at anong balance ng online gaming. So my question is this, because nga I'm eager to hear Senator Subiri, former Senator Subiri, but shouldn't CHED and TESDA and DepEd, not only kay Sen Sani now, I said this during the time of VP Sara, I said this during Duterte administration, shouldn't they weigh in? Kasi can you imagine, sasabihin ng PAGCOR, we're making 50 billion. Tapos ang mga bata, tuturuan mo, kulang-kulang tayo ng mahigit 1 trillion, papayag ka sa 50 billion na kikitain, tapos ang mga bata, tuturuan mong hard work, mag-aral ka, huwag kang magsusugal. And then pag uwi nila, yung driver na sumusundo, nagsusugal. Sa church, kahit kahapon sa anong Monday, di ba? May nanonood na sabong habang binoboto yung speaker. So, do you feel, no, as one of the champions of education, that despite being in the same cabinet, certain members of the cabinet that deal with our children, no, and deal with values should have a hard stand?
I
Di ba?
agree.
Thank you.
Mr. President, just to respond to the query of the gentleman from Taguig, I agree completely. No, hindi ho dapat natin ipamigay ang kinabukasan ng mga anak natin para sa ilang bilyong buwis na makukuha natin. And I'm sure, Mr. President, this issue will be tackled here. That's the privileged speech of the gentleman from Bukidnon. And I will support all measures to ban online gambling. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, after hearing that, Mr. President, may I offer to transfer to Senator Bam the Committee on Science and Technology, given that this is intimately related with his advocacy of dito sa basic education. So we have agreed that he'll give me 1 year to finish some bills that I started or that all of you filed. I didn't file that, but I heard it. But after hearing him, and he was my seatmate in the first day, I think earlier is better. So if the good gentleman will just allow me to hear some of the bills we started, I'll, at the right time, I'll ask the majority leader at his discretion to transfer the chairmanship to you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And of course, the gentleman from Taguig, I'd like to extend my thanks. Salamat po, mga kasama. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.